Good morning. I want to welcome all of my new people and all the people who are asking what is tapping. There's so much amazing information out there, but I would be honored to be your primary resource. For now, I'd like you to check out some of my YouTube videos. There's not a lot. And primarily my Instagram has tons of IGTV videos, everything about tapping. And if you really want to, just Google tapping, learn about tapping. Okay, look wherever you can. But what I want to address right now is all or nothing thinking. Okay, because we can see something like tapping and go, well, that looks weird, or that's strange, or even, if it worked that well, I would have heard about it. Okay, a lot of us are learning in the world right now that a lot of the modalities that really do work, we don't hear about a lot. They might not make people money, okay, so we don't hear about it, or they actually take a little bit more time and cooperation of you being an actual active participant in your personal work. A lot of the modalities today are pay somebody, they do it for you, take a pill, liposuction, okay, whatever. If you're involved with that stuff, it's fine. I used to be an insurance agent. I used to be on anxiety meds. I've just learned that there's a different way, and if we participate with our own process, the results are really, really incredible. And the good stuff works really well and is oftentimes free. So while yes, I do work privately with clients on a regular basis with most of my time, I also want to make sure that you understand, those of you who are new to this, that you can start tapping right away. You don't have to know a lot about it, okay? But you do have to try it. So all or nothing, okay? All or nothing is, when it comes to tapping, I'm going to focus on tapping, is you're like, you know what, it's so weird, it's so out there, it's all natural and holistic, whatever, and you just totally red light it. You're like, nope, okay? Or you're all in, all right? And you're like, I'm gonna learn everything about this, and I'm gonna read everything, and I'm gonna study everything, and I'm gonna tap literally for 12 hours a day. That's probably too much, okay? And so as humans, when we feel like we have to be all out or all in, we get overwhelmed, we get anxious, we get depressed, okay? But here's why tapping is so interesting, because what its primary purpose is to reduce cortisol in your body. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone. So tapping, I'm dealing with people's anxiety, stress, fear, not even just the yucky stuff, but sometimes somebody says, you know what, I'm feeling on top of the world right now, but I have this goal and I want to reach it, and I just don't know what's getting in the way and what's stopping me. And so what we do is we look at that goal, we visualize the goal, and we see what roadblocks are in between. And then what we do is we think about those roadblocks causing stress in their body, and then we take a breath and we start tapping. If you've never even seen tapping, I'll go ahead and tap for you while I talk. And you can even tap while you're listening to me if you want to. Remember to breathe. So what I want to say here to you is this. If you're new, if you're kind of questioning it, I want to tell you that the truth in life, with most things that we're all in or all out, the truth usually lands in the middle, okay? We just can't go so extreme, and we can't fully bail and learn what we're supposed to learn from it. Tapping is going to be different for everybody. So what I want to encourage you to do is just give it a try, okay? Just give it a try. I want you to practice tapping however you want to, whenever you want to, but ask me questions, use me, tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're tapping on, ask your questions. I'm totally here for you. The best way is just through Instagram Messenger. And then what I want you to do, if you see this, I would like you to ask me to tag you in one of my favorite videos for you to practice on. I have a really great video that's just a couple scrolls down, and it's focusing on anxiety. It's only about 10 minutes long. And the reason it's focusing on anxiety is because that's one of the primary emotions that I work on with women. And so it doesn't matter if you feel anxiety on a regular basis and struggle with panic attacks, or if you're somebody who says, you know what, I just don't really resonate with anxiety. That's not a word that resonates with me. Here's what's cool. I'm going to tag you in the video. And in the video, every single time I address anxiety, you're going to replace it with a different word. You can replace it with fear. You can replace it with pain. If you don't want to talk about emotions or deal with emotions here, then I want you to think into like an injury that you've had from a car accident, a pain, maybe a pain in your knee from running or hiking too regularly. I don't want you to keep your options limited. I want you to think really big. And I just want you to practice on something, okay? You know, so when I'm saying the word anxiety, you could be thinking this pain in my shoulder from this torn rotator cuff from that time that I did too many pull-ups, okay? All you're doing is using my tapping video as a guide to address some sort of problem. It's that simple. I'm just labeling it anxiety in the case of that video. So take a nice deep breath if you're tapping along with me, blow it out, and I want you to give yourself an actual pat on the back. I know this seems silly, but what you did was you showed up, you gave yourself a few minutes, you're curious about something new. So much research on this, so many incredible testimonials, but literally just tapping and breathing and allowing your thoughts to pop up, being curious about them and allowing them to move the way that they need to move without having to try to figure it out. You're not trying to figure anything out. What needs to be sorted out will come, okay? What you're doing is you're reducing your cortisol inside your body while you're tapping. As your cortisol drops, your immune system gets stronger. So your immunity is actually going up. Okay, the blood is able to stay in your brain instead of running out into your arms and your legs telling you to run or hide. And now there might be an issue, whether it's a small knee pain or a really big trauma from when you were 5 years old, that for the first time you're thinking about it with a low cortisol level without your body actually thinking it's happening, because your body and your mind do not know the difference between remembering something traumatic when you were little and actually talking about it and just remembering it. So if that event was so traumatic as a kid and caused so much trauma, more than you probably realize how it affects you in your daily life, then just thinking about it or even talking about it with a friend, and I'm sorry, but even talking to a therapist about it can tell your subconscious it's happening all over again. And when our subconscious thinks that this thing is happening over and over and over and over, I want you to imagine it's just like wrapping saran wrap. Saran wrap's thin, it's breakable, right? You can tear it apart, but too much saran wrap, it's immovable, it's unbreakable. It becomes like a callus, okay? So when we're tapping, we're actually lowering your cortisol so that your brain can think. And what happens is now this event that was in a trauma file is able to be thought about safely and slowly or quickly, depending on the work we're doing together, dropped into a safety file. Now you can think about it and you don't feel that rush of emotion, the anxiety, the stress show up. Okay, so go ahead, let me know how you want to try this. I will walk you through it, but remember, stay in the middle, stay curious, stay curious. My favorite tool with tapping, okay, is finding the middle. So this means when we're doing this all or nothing thinking or worst case scenario thinking, I have girls really actually imagine that worst case scenario. That can be really heavy, but then we imagine the best case scenario. And what we're doing in our body with that is incredible. And what happens after that work is usually girls fall somewhere right in the middle. So not only is tapping the best tool to address daily problems and old trauma and pulling away from the all or nothing thinking, but it's actually a great tool to help you find the middle ground with actual tapping instead of pushing it all the way out or bringing it all the way in. Let me know if you have any questions.